Welcome to day one as we begin a brand new series of verses to write out here at TorahFamilyLiving.com. This month is really an exciting month. We are looking at a topic, joy, a cause for joy. And as we explore the verses, there may be some really interesting things this month that we'll find as we glean these scriptures. So starting on day one, let's look at Psalm chapter 27. We're going to be looking at verses 1 through 7 together. Yahweh is my light and my deliverance. Whom shall I fear? Yahweh is the refuge of my life. Whom shall I dread? When evildoers come against me to eat up my flesh, my adversaries and my enemies, they shall stumble and fall. Though an army encamps against me, my heart does not fear. Though battle comes up against me, even when I would be trusting. Even then I would be trusting. One matter I ask of Yahweh, this I seek, to dwell in the house of Yahweh all the days of my life, to see the pleasantness of Yahweh, and to inquire in his hakel, that's the temple. For in the day of evil he hides me in his booth. In the covering of his tent he hides me. On a rock he raises me up. Wow, that's pretty good. There's some really cool verses there. Joy. Such a difficult topic because so often people look at joy and they think joy is the result of something good happening, and because something good happens, I have this emotional response in which I am responding joyfully, so I have joy. And unfortunately, that is not what joy is. Joy is not the end result of something, it is the beginning of something. So as we start to look at these passages of Scripture, we see a person that is facing enemies, facing tribulation, facing persecution, facing hard times, even possible death, because he talks about here where his enemy may eat his flesh. There may be difficult times and circumstances in our life. That does not dictate an outcome of joy. That brings anxiety, fear, and so there's so much missed in that. That can bring a negative response. And you can't just have events happen and have some kind of negative response toward it. When someone hurts you, you have that innate, built-in, God-given emotional responder, and how you respond to that. You respond in either cowardice or you respond in standing up and fighting. And we find that's the typical response of what can be an outcome. So what is happening here in the scriptures? What is being defined? The psalmist, as he's writing this, he says, I'm having all this conflict, all these things that are happening around me. But in all of this, I have a staple. I have something that can't be defined in the world. Because while all these things are happening, I can have joy. And so what is joy? Joy is the compilation of trust and faith and belief and assurance and knowledge that goes beyond the circumstances. So in the circumstances, no matter what's happening, I know positionally where I am. That's why when they are training warriors and military men to go out, if you are to get captured, they teach you certain techniques so you go deep inside yourself to shut out everything that's happening around you in negative. Find that happy place, if you will, inside your mind, so that you can endure the pain, you can endure the time of your captivity, that you can work through it, because there is a hope and there is a joy inside you as you're reflecting on that brings sustenance to your life. And we see this as this person here in the psalmist is working out and struggling through this, and the emphasis of this is that it is joy, and the joy is based on the knowledge and understanding and relationship that we have with Yahweh. And he says, in asking this, there's just one thing that I would ask, one thing that I desire of Yahweh, that when all these things are happening, that I can know, I can have the assurance that I'm your child. Two, that I am going to be taken care of. That's the idea of being underneath the tent. That means I belong to Yah. And so no matter what happens, I can still have joy because I know who I am. And so this joy can still be exuberated and shown. There can be a sense of confidence in the midst of all of this confusion and difficult times. So how do you respond? How do I respond? Is it in a negative and sometimes in a way that may not please God? Do we forget who we are? Or are we even thinking about and asking God to give us that joy that He has, and trust in His joy, which is that knowledge and faith that we're okay because we're in His hand and everything's going to be okay. We can be a Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that when they even knew that they were going to go into the fire, and they said to King Nebi, they said, hey, look, we understand you want us to bow to your God. Can't do it because we know who we are in Yahweh. We are His sons, and we will not bow to knee to you. He is the only true God. And they said, if Yahweh delivers us, He delivers us. But if He doesn't, that doesn't change who He is. So our joy in Him doesn't change because of the circumstances around us. It should give us a sure foundation to have joy, a completeness. And as a result of that, in the midst of all this turmoil that we are living in today and everything that we see around us, when anxiety and fear rushes in on us and tries to enslave us in fear and doubt, we can rest and have the joy of Yah in our life to be overcomers in these areas. So as we explore the scriptures and we look at joy, and there's multiple different facets to this, I pray that this month that you will have a successful journey through the scriptures and writing them out and exploring joy. But for today, know that your joy is in Him, and it's not an outward expression. It is a sustenance of who He wants to bring to you as a foundational principle in your life. Well, that's it for today. I hope this has been encouraging to you.